I always lie about how much something costed when someone is paying me back. So whenever one of my friends forgets their wallet and I have to pay for them and they'll just pay me back later, or any other reason that somebody has to pay me back, I always lie about how much they owe me. It's never that much. If whatever they're paying me back for was $15, I'd say they owe me $20. Over a couple years I've probably received at least $150 more than what I should have. I feel incredibly guilty about it and I finally told myself that enough is enough and I'm not going to continue doing it. I feel like such a lying, thieving, bad person. Which I guess I am for doing that. I want to pay my friends back, but I have no way of knowing which person gets how much money. I just feel really guilty, man. I gave drugs to a person who just went through detox. I know a recovering addict. He saw some stuff that I had for personal use when he was hanging out with me. He asked if he could have some and I was like, yeah, sure, IDC. He then nodded out for a while and I realized I just fucked up bad. Now he is back on the hard stuff. I pocket tips at work instead of splitting them with everyone else. My job tip pools, which I think is stupid. It's not really a huge deal because I'm not working to pay bills or anything, but it's just annoying to have to split money that I've earned, so I've started keeping most of my tips for myself. What hobbies instantly make someone more attractive to you? For me, any hobby can make a man more attractive, if he's enthusiastic about it. I once went on a date with a guy who does scuba diving, and he went on and on about the different types of tropical fish and other shallow water sea creatures. He talked about their behaviors, which species were invasive, which species were great to eat, and went especially in on Hawaii's state fish, the reef triggerfish, also called humuhumanukunukupua. He was so interesting. I wonder what he's up to now. What is something that seems easy to other people, but is difficult for you? Something that seems easy to many people but is difficult for me is remembering names. It's like my brain just decides to take a vacation whenever I meet someone new, and the name just slips away before I can even attempt to commit it to memory. It's embarrassing sometimes, especially when I see others effortlessly recall names after just one introduction. I've tried all sorts of tricks like associating names with visuals or repeating them in my head, but it's still a challenge. What will you never tell to a friend? I'd never tell a friend that I secretly dislike their partner. It's one of those situations where being honest could cause unnecessary tension or hurt feelings, especially if they're happy. I believe in supporting my friends and being there for them, but sometimes it's best to keep certain opinions to yourself unless asked directly. What will you never tell to a friend? I generally don't tell most of my friends if my mental health isn't doing well. Mostly because I've found that when I tell friends they all go into panic mode and suddenly I find myself having to support and reassure them instead of the other way around. I have one friend that we've made an agreement to be able to tell each other if we aren't feeling well mentally, but I don't need anything from them. I'd also never tell a friend if I'm attracted to them. That would make things weird 9 times out of 10 and I'd rather have a friend than a FWB. What is the most paranormal thing that happened to you or anyone else? I was 2 or 3 and remember going to my grandparents all the time. My grandfather wasn't a talker. He was quiet and kept to himself and sat in his chair all day. Sadly, Grandma ended up passing when I was 3 or 4 and I don't remember seeing my grandfather again after that. Fast forward 10 years later and my parents have my grandfather's chair in their living room. For some reason I mentioned, oh yeah, I remember Grandpa sitting in his chair every time we visited, but he never talked. Why was he so quiet? My parents paused and looked at each other and said, well, he died before you were born. Edit. 10 years. What is the most paranormal thing that happened to you or anyone else? I was really young, like 8 years old, doing homework on my desk in my bedroom alone with the door shut. An eraser was thrown from behind me and bounced off the wall in front of me, like 2 feet from my face. I heard it hit the wall. I saw it when it landed on my desk. I looked up and could see the mark it made on the wall. Told my parents in a panic and I was brushed off. Fucked me up basically forever. Never happened again, but like WTF. What is the most paranormal thing that happened to you or anyone else? Probably not that paranormal, but it scared me. So I was in the house of my religious grandparents, when the nose my little brother suddenly started bleeding, and he said that it felt like a nail. We were alone, so I helped him out. 20 minutes later, I needed to charge my phone, so I went to my room, just to see the hand puppet of my brother. Our uncle made one to each of us with a nail on his nose. What's your biggest pet peeve that isn't too common? Whispering. I don't know why, but the sound of 2 people talking in whispered tones drives me insane. It doesn't even matter what they're whispering about, it's just the sounds. It's stupid and makes no sense.